3, 2, 1. That was a bad clap.
You can go again.
I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it another go.
Give it another go. Much better.
Is that better?
It's back.
Told you I was nervous. I was saying earlier to the guys, man. I don't know, for some reason I'm feeling nervous today. It's been a while.
Yeah. That's why.
Laith went to Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
3-week break. Never happens.
Yeah, and it's been a month and a half since we last recorded.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. We're still putting out stuff though. So we had
still
a
got
little bit of a backlog.
Production. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Peter Harper is here today with us all the way from South Africa. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Rainy South Africa. Yeah.
It's winter time now, right? You guys are full blast winter.
It's winter time. There's some snow on the mountains, so we're feeling very special.
Nice. Is that a random act, or does that happen regularly?
It happens every year, but just snow in Africa. There's something wrong.
Counterintuitive, right? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You're based in Cape or Joburg?
Yeah. I'm based in Cape Town.
Okay.
The colony of South Africa. But I'm in Cape Town.
Nice. All right. Amazing. So, Peter, it's funny. Peter just sent us his profile a little earlier and added some stuff. So I know Peter. You have Peter Harper Productions. You have your studio as well, which is give us Cube Heads. And but what was interesting is I was talking to my son and I was telling him after you sent me the email that you're into karate. So my son went on Netflix randomly enough and found the show Cobra Kai, which is like the spin-off of the
YouTube special.
Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Because my son wants to watch it now. He got all excited.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cobra Kai gives us a really bad rap. It's so, what do they call it? Mall karate.
Mall karate.
Yeah.
So you have your own dojo, right? And you compete. You compete as well. You're competitive.
Yeah. I've been competitive for quite a long time. I've got some gray hairs in the beard. I see you guys are.
We're on board. We're on board.
But I'm at my age. I'm 49.
Okay.
Let's just put that out there. So
looking good.
Looking good in my age group.
No, but you're looking good for 49.
Yeah, no, thanks, man. Thanks. I'll remember that. I am recording. That's exactly. Wonderful.
Well, I'm putting it out there, right? I'm putting it out for the world to see. But that's amazing. So when did you get into it? When did you get into, give us the journey of the karate? I'm always intrigued by athletic endeavors, right? I find it really interesting, that commitment, the way you connect to it, the dedication. So guide us through that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'd love to hear your story.
It's been, well, as you said, I'm from Cape Town, and where I was born in District 6, which is one of those neighborhoods that was thrown down during the previous regime. And then we moved into the suburbs, wherever they put us. And those neighborhoods are rough. They're really rough. So you sink or swim, So you got no choice but to just keep on paddling.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the analogy, I suppose, of what someone said to me the other day. He's like a duck. You see the top of his body is so calm, but
the bottom is flapping away.
It's the first time I ever heard it. Everyone nods when I say it. It's so nerve-wracking. In any case, those are the neighborhoods. So, but I was never a violent guy. I was just a very excited guy. I was always the excited guy. So I took up boxing when I was a kid. I liked it. I liked the fighting. I didn't like the strategy thing.
Yeah.
And then gave that up for a number of years. You grow up, girls.
Of course.
Life.
The ladies.
And then when I turned 30-something, I decided, let me get back into some kind of sports. And I was always cycling, but I got back into, the before MMA was MMA, the mixed kind of fighting, stuff like that. And then decided, let me clean my act and do karate. And then when my daughter was born, she joined when she was 3 years old. And then I just got straight back into karate and fighting arts, but now the legal way where there's a referee and things like that.
Is it a point system?
Pajama suits.
When you're competing, it's a point system. Is that
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the point system. So there's two. There's kata, which is like shadow boxing or
okay.
And you have to display every single move perfectly and interpret who you're fighting with, who's not there in front of you, that type of thing.
Okay, interesting.
And then there's the kumite, which is fighting against someone else.
Exactly. Okay.
So one is more the art form of it, the technical side.
The traditional art form. So it will be with there's two different thinkings. There's two different schools, let me say. There's the sports karate, and then there's the traditional karate. And the sports karate is it's the points-based system. You go out there to go and compete against someone else. There are rules, obviously. You can't just go in and knock someone out. There's distances you have to have lots more control than just going out there to fight.
Yeah.
And you have to play within those rules. Then the traditional karate, which is the school that I come from, we have a syllabus. We stick to our syllabus, and we train all our kids and everyone else that does the same style within that syllabus, and they get graded according to that syllabus. So going from white belt to yellow belt to orange belt, they have to follow a certain amount of months or years of learning, and then they get graded on that, like school, like anything like that.
Are there, so in the same concept, when you see someone or one of these kids that have a lot of potential or progressing really quickly, can they speed through that syllabus? Is there like a fast track, or they still have to endure the time?
No. There are other schools out there who I suppose, I don't know, they favor certain. We don't, because we are accountable to Okinawa, and everyone who goes through our gradings get put into this massive ancient book. I'm sure it's not ancient. That's just the picture we tell them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they get graded and are listed, and the ratification of it is within that book, and that sits in Okinawa. Okay. I don't know if you know the funny story of Miyagi Sensei, of Karate Kid, that guy that went to America and taught this kid.
Yeah.
So our style, which was the original style of karate, there was a Miyagi Sensei, who came up with a style and then called that style karate. He just wasn't. He never went to the States. Yeah, he never drove an old car.
So I have an interesting thought. I was just thinking about it. Karate is. Would you consider it like a combat sport, or more like a self-defense art form?
So that good question actually. So that's where the thinking of traditional and the sport comes in. Yeah. Because the sport gets, it's a points-based system. It's you against someone else, or you against a team. Right. You're either fighting or you're doing your katas to try and show that you can dance better or shadow fight better than someone else.
So it's like a choreographed.
But that's also where.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say it's like a choreographed kind of play thing that you're doing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's exactly like that. So these katas have been developed since just before the Second World War. Okay. Yeah. And we follow the same steps and the same techniques as they did back then. And you can polish it all you want. It still has to be the same techniques. So the only thing that gets better from one practitioner to the other is you get faster,
Okay.
you get quicker, you get stronger.
The fluidity as well,
You
the
jump higher.
the ability to transition with your body, the movements, those subtle, the subtle things, right?
Exactly.
Which
it's
is
like a dancer.
amazing.
Just without the tights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Without the tights,
But,
exactly.
I find it very interesting because with something like karate, it's not based on weight class. There's no featherweight, lightweight, heavyweight. So it's I guess you go against somebody the same belt as you. Is that how the competition works?
Well, there's a difference with competition. Within the competitive arena, there's two different schools, or the one is based on is full contact, which is they base it on weight.
So there is weight class,
or how tall you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then within our we full contact, or at least we semi-contact, and we are also based on weight. Okay, so you can't have a guy that's 20 kilograms, a kid, going against someone who's he'll but they're the same age.
Yeah, he'll play with him like a rag doll. You know, the heavier guy.
Exactly. But then so at the world champs, or at least no, it wasn't the world champs, it was the South African champs. My son was the same age as his opponent. The opponent was 3 heads.
Oh wow!
Above him. My son could only get to his stomach. But my son lost the fight, but he stood his ground.
Yeah.
So but when it gets to the more seniors, you can't have something like that happening.
Yeah.
So it's all based on weight.
Yeah, I have an interesting thought on martial arts and its place in our education system, in the systematic way that we grow people up, right? We want to create the best human beings. I think martial arts has to be introduced as compulsory at some point. I think it teaches discipline, it teaches respect.
Sure.
It teaches so many foundational, core, amazing principles. I don't know why they don't
Some
put
countries
it in
are.
schools.
I think places like Brazil, I think,
Is it part of their schooling system?
I think it's part of their curriculum, or it's offered, it's available, and it's encouraged.
I think it needs.
I mean, when
to
I
be.
was in Rio, it looked like everybody's doing jiu-jitsu. You can just tell the form, the body. Like most young people are into it.
What do you think is just popular in there? I think they have so many
That
champions.
too, but they're also doing it here in Abu Dhabi, where they're pushing towards more like the judo,
integrating
the
it.
karate, the jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
What do you think about that, Peter? I think it.
Yeah, I think it's look, every kid or everyone that goes through a schooling system at that age has to be doing something. They have to be doing something. Whether it's, and martial arts, the physical part of martial arts is one form of a martial art. I mean, there's many others. There's I can't remember what the Japanese or Okinawan term is, but there's calligraphy, there's flower arranging, bonsai cutting, things like that. Any kind of anything could be turned into an art.
Yeah.
And it should be seen as that way, so that these kids can get the learning that even their schoolwork and life is an art form. You have to keep on working at it, getting better at it. Martial arts is just the physical way of that helps kids like me, who was dyslexic, hyperactive, ADHD, ADD, all the D's, ADHDs, I think it's if there is a country out there that's not taking advantage of any kind of martial arts, especially something that's a physical, and turning it into a martial art, then they're missing a trick, because then we've got a lot of angry kids out there.
No, for sure. Like I said, the respect part, and then also the physicality, man. Again, staying active is just another outlet for kids to
discipline.
be active.
It's a form of expression as well for them. It's an outlet to express.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what the thing is? So we've been pushing in South Africa a lot towards the kids that have disabilities. and people who have disabilities, and trying to bring them as well into the sporting arena, because there's so much. Yeah, there's the mental thing, attached to martial arts, where you learn how to cope within stress. You learn how to use your body, your expression of your art, But there's also these other things that you never think of, which is how good I feel doing something.
Yeah, true.
As opposed to watching TV or sitting on the couch,
satisfaction,
or how much I can affect something within my arena, and I can control that to make myself or someone else feel good about themselves, So we've got these kids as well who come from, and we've all heard the stories of the kids that come from neighborhoods that can't afford to do things, or but the thing that really makes me smile is those kids who have so many challenges, mental and physical challenges, who you think it's they can't do anything, and then they step onto the sporting arena, and they do something even better
than what was. Yeah,
this
is it.
Able-bodied.
This is it.
That's when you kind of go, gee whiz, I'm doing something right.
How do you how much time are you putting into it? This isn't your full time. Is it your full time, or do you consider it as your full time?
I wish it was. I wish it was my full time. There are guys in our in who do karate for a living. It's just that our organization does not believe that if you're under, I think it's under 80 years old, or under 75 or 70, 65, it can't be your full-time job. You have to have a job.
Interesting.
And we're not there to make money out of karate. So whatever we got from someone else, we have to teach it on, pass it on. You can only do karate full-time if you are retired from your job. Now that might be something that my sensei has told me, but I think it is true within our organization.
Okay, I didn't know that, and that's why I kind of, it goes to the whole assumption whenever you see these like karate things, always an old man.
Yeah,
because he's the only one that can be doing it full time.
That's true,
right? I was like, okay, that makes more sense. So you're doing, like, you have also an interesting journey through photography, through film. You spent some time out in New York as well while you're going through that process. So tell us about that, because it's interesting. When you sent me your profile, you said your passion is for visual storytelling, right? Which is just you can hear, like, you can sense it. We're just reading through those words, that love that you have for it, right? So it's been a long journey. I entered the advertising arena as a graphic artist student. Okay, I finished school fine art because back then if you were a student of color, you couldn't get into some universities. You couldn't go and study certain things. You couldn't. And I wanted to do film. I wanted to be in the media, but I didn't want to be the guy holding a light or something. I wanted to be a director. Yeah.
What year was this?
That was the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I entered art school in the early 90s. That was 91, because I couldn't get into a film school, because we didn't have proper film schools here, and the film schools that did exist were universities, and I didn't have the marks anyway, but also they were a certain color only. Okay.
Yeah.
So I went into the graphic side. I really enjoyed it. So funny story.
Give it to us. Give it to us.
A friend of mine went to this college, okay, and he was going to go and study graphic design, and I stood in the same queue. I was supposed to go to the school down the road, and I wanted to do industrial design, and then. He said, no, it's that queue over there. So we went to stand in that queue, both of us. and we filled out all the forms, everything. My mother already said, no, you are going to become a teacher or something. You got to go. Yeah. I didn't want to listen. Yeah. I wanted to do this thing because my mate was standing in this queue. So then we got accepted, okay? And we realized it was interior decorating.
Oh, God.
That we signed up for.
Completely different from industrial design.
I can make you a really good lampshade and design a really good crocheted cushion for you. I'm telling you, I'm the best.
I have no doubt about that. I have no doubt about it.
So my mom said, there's no way you're going to finish this thing. And there was 18 months of my life. It was the hard labor doing this thing. And then after that, she said, okay, cool. You can go to graphic school.
Now you can do graphic school.
Wow.
That's hilarious. So standing in the wrong line cost you 18 months of effort.
But I met so many chicks, so many good women.
The silver lining.
That's amazing.
So after I did fine art, I finished with my diploma, and then I went into advertising as an assistant. And that was at an ad agency. Okay, so I was drawing things. I thought I was going to be this ad guy. How many people heard of the ad guy?
Yeah.
You know? Lots of partying, lots of good briefs, you're going to be invited to all the best shows and awards, and things like that. Yeah. What I ended up doing was they put me in this little room with this red light. And it was called the bromide room. And what I had to do there was I had to enlarge things with this massive camera. This camera was the size of a big desk. And after a while, you start smelling like the emulsion.
Oh, wow.
Because it's a dark room. Basically, it's a dark room.
Yeah.
So that's where the love of photography came from, because of all of these techniques to try and expose these things to film and stuff like that, you know. Then after that, I became an art director, and then I was actually designing things. I went from one agency to the next agency. I paid my dues in agency life. You get stuck. You win one little award, and you think you've made it. Now you've got to win a bigger one, and then a bigger one, and a bigger one. And you're nodding your head profusely, so you obviously know what I mean.
Yeah,
exactly.
I did my stint 2.5 years on the business side, working for an agency. So I'm familiar with all the whole entire process, from the time the client's brief comes in, and let's sit down, and creative runs around and tries to come up with ideas. And tell me one thing. I don't know if this is something that all agencies experience. You get a brief 3 weeks, 4 weeks before the deadline, and it's always to the last minute. Is that common? Is that something that every agency?
Nothing's changed.
Wow.
Nothing's changed.
I'm telling you, because I'm the one that was responsible for submitting our pitch. Sometimes you have to submit it.
Guy.
Yeah, I'm the guy that puts all the envelopes together, the everything.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, 2 a.m. Yeah, we're done. I'm like, we're submitting tomorrow at 8 a.m. You know that, right? Oh I have 6 hours to print, fold everything, put it together, and it never fails. And it's always what we do. Sometimes we trick them. We're like, okay, we're gonna do it a week before the deadline, so they have it.
Yeah.
Oh, can we get an extension? Can we get an extension?
Iterations.
It never fails. It's funny to hear.
I think. Look, I have a theory on this, and I think it has to do with the fact that it's a creative endeavor, right? Like, it's not a mathematical equation. It's not 1 + 1 = 2.
True. It's subjective.
It's a subjective, and it's like a group.
Yeah.
And unless you have a client, a single client. I'm sure that would be much easier if you're working with a single individual of be all end all person. But aside from that, it's a collective of people trying to figure out some.
Well, that's
vision
another
that
thing.
You
have the client's budget, the client's expectation, and the client's budget.
Exactly.
It's always the case.
Exactly. It's a bit smaller than that, but Look, it can always be better. So even though we're ready to present, if I go and sleep tonight and I wake up tomorrow morning, the first things that I write on that little notepad, it's already better than what I came up with yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to need a bit more and a bit more time. Look, at the moment, I've got this. I think it's 1 corporate and 2 TV commercials that should have been. I hope my clients are not going to hear this. It should have been done last week. And because I'm editing, re-editing, doing the voice better, that's why I never make money, because I'm always paying to get it better. And the client's budget stays that small.
Yeah.
But I promise those 3 things are going to be entered this week. Come rain or shine, they're going to be entered. And on the last day, I'm going to think I should have done that better, and I'm going to redo it.
So is that now most of your clients, like most of the work that you're doing now is corporate, or you're doing more creative stuff? You said documentaries, I think you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So the documentary stuff is a lot of corporate. The money comes from corporate, of the stuff that I do for the documentaries, which is great, because then there's a brief, there's a target, there's everything's. So it's not me running out, going to find the story or coming up with my own story and then hoping money's going to come for it. So the documentary stuff is sponsored by corporate, and it's
that's cool.
It's better organized. The TV commercial stuff is also great because it's obviously there's a brand paying for it, and we do a lot of work with polishing before the things go out and we start shooting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's my own stuff or the features that I get involved in, or I get asked to come and get involved in, that always they turn out better, but the process is just so painful. There's and also it's again that thing of too many creatives in the room. So we are making it better every time, but there's a lot less control. Because you do your little thing, you give it to someone else, they do their little thing, they give it to someone else, they do their little thing. And my company, I've because of my background in advertising, I get the brief directly from the clients, and then I come up with the idea myself, or the team. We come up with the idea. Then I know already what I want to shoot and how I want to shoot it. So we go and get the gear that we want. I get the crew together. So there's a lot more control when I know that I'm getting the briefing. I've got control.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got the client. The client and I are going on a journey together.
You don't have an account manager pushing their own agenda.
That's the client's agenda, obviously, not my agenda.
Yeah, of course. This is what the client wants.
You know what? What I had a lot of fun with was when I was doing. So I went out and I was a vlogger. A vlogger. Right.
Nice. All right. Cool. Like
nature. Everyone that has a phone's a vlogger.
Yeah. Of course. So like nature stuff. Like what kind of vlogging were you doing? No.
It was more on the lifestyle side. I was vlog up. I'd go out on a Harley ride with a couple of mates of mine. And then
cool.
I'd film the entire event and put it together and things like that, because I've got all the cameras, I've got the gear, I've got the
Cool.
And then I ran into a problem. First of all, I can't be doing a vlog and getting a vlog out if the client's work is still not on air.
Yeah, exactly.
And clients used to see that vlog and go, "I loved your vlog, man. I really loved it. So when am I going to get my edit?"
My actual, Wow.
I've been slightly busy, you know.
Yeah. You saw my holiday.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wow.
So yeah.
So you dropped the vlog?
Became a problem.
So you dropped it, you don't do it anymore, the vlog. That's it?
I hope to be once I enter, or at least I've got something on air that I know, okay, that was a big brief. Now I've got footage from 3 years ago that I haven't even edited yet. And every time I go out and do something exciting, I'm shooting it. I think I'm going to get onto it and put a vlog out. But then something else gets briefed in.
Yeah,
of course.
Another client comes with something. There's always something.
Like in an ideal situation, you're in a unique spot. So you're doing your own thing. So you have not the luxury, maybe the ability to shift the way you utilize your time. And you have more time to play with, let's say, right? Because everything requires time and effort. And in an ideal world, if you could have the perfect ratio between doing the karate, doing the studio, doing your own vlogging, for example, you're a big cyclist as well. How would you split your time, man? Where would it be? Where's your true passion, your true love?
Yeah, you know what? If I had a rich dad,
there you go. There you go. If you had a rich dad,
I'd spend all my time with my kids, with the family, with my wife.
Beautiful
I'd
answer.
cycle every day. I'd be teaching only karate, but I'd still be in this industry. I think I'm already blessed. I'm doing what I wanted to do. There's a lot of our friends where I grew up with a lot of them went into being gangsters. Other guys are not with us anymore. So I think I can't be blessed more than what I am. I'm content, man. I'm happy.
I think that's always important, man. You always at some point you have to have that satisfaction in your life, or else you're just gonna be
And it doesn't have to be money.
But you know what? There's always that thing of that it could always be better. So you're always trying to change it up by doing something better. Even if it's the same thing that you're doing, you're just trying to polish it. Better and better. So I suppose that's life,
I think that's part of in our nature to always do better, optimize what you're already doing. And there's always that curiosity where you always want to try something different. Change it up to make it more exciting in all aspects of your life. Whether it's
I want to challenge you on that. I don't think everyone has that drive. I think some people are just content doing what they're doing.
For sure.
And not even wanting to put in the energy to.
It's obvious. We see that every day, right? There's people that are happy with whatever stage they are in their life, whether it's financial, family, social, athletic. But having that drive, I think it's within our nature to have. It's not unique to an individual or a group of people. Always strive to be better. And I think most people don't do that because they don't know any better. Right?
Or have the limited options or the limited...
For example, we always talk about these health ads or diets. It's something that's, I think, it's always been there. But once we found out about it, it's like something, oh wow, I didn't know that existed. That technique is there, or that type of style is there that for me to adapt to.
You don't think though that so when I see people who I know or who could be a lot better than where they are, it's always our assumption that they could be a lot better. Maybe they are content where they are, or where they came from was just so much different to where they are that they're content where they are.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I just, that what you kind of brought up and the way you said it is, I would imagine, like for me as well, is exactly the way I think. You always want to. You're never satisfied, right? You always want to get a little bit better, a little sharper. We always want to get a little bit, we're doing the podcast. Each time we're trying to
tweak it better,
upgrade it slightly. It's just.
Well, I am content with my iPhone. I'm waiting for the next one.
Are you?
Yeah.
What's funny is the next one, as in the next model with the 5G, because this is something that I was looking into the other day, right? So you know that the new iPhones,
They're skipping it.
They're not doing the 5G on the next model. They're going to do it on the model after. Yeah, they're saying 2021. End of 2021. So there's going to be a model that's going to come out before then, and then they'll have the model.
Yeah.
So you're still second generation away from what I was reading earlier. So now the only phones that do 5G are like Samsung, Huawei, and a few others like Chinese.
China.
So you should check that out. You should just check if 5G.
No, absolutely. I've always been a phone geek, and this is the first year that I'm actually saying, nah, I think I'm going to wait for the 12 to come out and not get the 11.
Are you one of those people that gets a new one every?
No.
Okay.
I like the free things.
Yeah.
Since I've had kids, I love the free things. My daughter's 16, so she's last year of school, and my son's 11. So they love the things that actually matter.
Yeah.
I buy it for them, and then I really buy it for them, and then they inherit it when I'm done. Yeah.
When I'm done. Love it.
Hand me downs.
Love it. It's yours, but I'm just gonna use it for a few months, years, and then you'll get it. Don't worry. So as your son is going through the iPhone 4 right now, right? He's currently
he's nearly done.
The upgrade's coming. So I was looking at you. I was saying earlier, you are quite active, right? I'm always interested. I think by traditional sense be considered older, but I think obviously as we're evolving health-wise, I think honestly, like people living to 100 is going to be quite common, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always interested at. You said 59. And I said, you're
49.
49. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I made you like an old man. I was like, no, okay. I'm still in the 50s. We're young. You're at the halfway point. How have you maintained that, man? Are you like into any sort of like keto diet, the intermittent fasting? Or you're just I eat what I want?
You know what? In my early 30s, before I went to New York to go and study film, I entered this bodybuilding arena kind of thing as a sport, because I thought, that looks cool.
Yeah, give it a go.
My wife was quite impressed because, I'd eat proper. I'd come home looking like a bronze god, things like that. But then I have a problem. I can't do things halfway. So I've got to do it.
The extreme mentality.
And there's one way to do it, and
all
it's the proper way. And so now I've had an operation on this elbow. I've had an operation on this elbow. When I was a kid, I had a cycling. I had a car accident where a taxi hit me when I was on my bicycle. So I've got an L2 that's still crushed or fractured. So with all of these injuries, the only thing that actually works for me is the karate.
Yeah.
Because it helps.
Yeah.
And the cycling I do purely as a maintenance for the karate. Being on the Goju South African squad is important for me.
Yeah.
So I I have to do everything else that I can do to maintain for that. Yeah. But one thing I don't do, I don't go to the gym any longer because I can't pick up the weights because of my elbows. So I don't do that. I go running. I like being active. You know, it's, if I don't sweat, then I don't have a good night's rest because I'm really hyperactive. So if I'm not sweating that day, I guarantee you that night I'm going to be awake until early hours of the morning, and that doesn't help because the next morning I need to be sharp because we're either shooting or we're in studio or I must write a concept for something or so. So it works for me being in this lifestyle.
Yeah. So how is that schedule? Like I'm again always intrigued, man, how people use their time. So are you like trying to do it on a systematic basis, like Sundays, Mondays, whatever like that, or are you just kind of every couple of days or every day you try to just do as much as possible?
Yeah. Well, with the karate, there's a schedule. You know, we've got certain days that we go and do. Yeah. Like
How often?
Monday's training for me. Wednesday I'm training other kids. Saturday's training again, or it's a competition or something. You know. When it comes to the cycling, I try every second day. Well, now I'm doing the virtual cycling, which is Zwift, and so I try and make my 30 minutes, or I'm trying to go for the 2 hours of cycling for that day because I want to make up the kilometers for the week that I've set aside.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do structure, but with being on the advertising or film side of or any kind of media job, man, it's draining so much.
It's draining too. It consumes you. Consumes you.
Consumes your life.
Sorry.
It consumes you. The advertising side. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I suppose you're always traveling. I'm always taking a camera with me, and there's always a little drone in my bag, and my running shoes. So wherever I have a chance, if I'm in Johannesburg or if I'm in Mauritius, or I can go for a run.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where I am. It's a lifestyle.
Because I've never been to South Africa, so I'm not too familiar with your climate. And I hear it's amazing. One of the best nature places on earth.
Yes.
Do you do most of your activities outdoors, outside of, I guess, Corona now, where things are probably more restricted?
That's the funny thing. It is Corona now.
Yeah.
But you when you go outside in the morning to go and run, everyone's running. It's winter, it's cold.
Yeah.
But Cape Townians are such an active lifestyle.
They're more outdoorsy.
It's a beautiful place. It's one of the most beautiful places to visit. Apparently, 10 most beautiful places to visit in the world.
Not just apparently, it is out of this world. Like, you gotta make the choice. Because it's like Cape Town, Stellenbosch, Arabella. There's some.
Yeah.
There's a spot.
And it's just endless beautiful spots.
I had a friend years back. I remember he explained it to me. There's a point where they say God's touched it, or God's fingerprint, or there's a saying. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which area is that? Or is it all
just South Africa?
South Africa.
Yeah.
It's
South Africa. Yeah. You know what? There's when I lived in Johannesburg, the big thing to do was to go on a safari and go and see all the wildlife and the big cats, the big five.
The big five, exactly.
Yeah. So it's the cats, the lions, the
elephants,
the buck, the giraffe, the rhino, I'm really bad at this. But in any case, there's a big five.
Yeah, exactly. And they're there, and they're in South Africa. So if that's your thing.
And it was always like I'd climb on my mountain bike, and 30 minutes from my house, you've got to start watching which fence you climb over, because it might be a game farm. If there's electric fencing, that's the lion farm. So that's not where we're going to jump over. We're going to go that way.
Yeah.
And then in Cape Town, it's not as arid. So you've got the coastal roads, you've got the greenery, the best surfing spots, the blue beaches, the blue flag beaches. So it's absolutely beautiful. And then the wine route on the other side, which is the Stellenbosch that you were talking about.
Beautiful.
So it's so varied, that I suppose if you wanted a holiday where you can do absolutely everything from desert to the lush wilds, then it would be South Africa. So it's really cheap as well, because our money's not as good as
rand is getting thrashed. Yeah, the rand is getting thrashed. It's weird. I was reading up, and you're talking about the cats, like big cats. One of your like famous, I don't know what they're called, zoologists, or So he just got killed by one of the cats that he had raised in South Africa. I forgot his name. It just happened like recently. Like,
You're not talking about this the Swiss guy, the guy with the blonde hair.
No. I'm talking
Schneider.
He's an older gentleman. Not that guy. Not Dean Schneider. No.
Yeah.
This older dude. So he had rescued 2 cats, 2 white lioness.
Yeah.
And he was taking them for a walk. His wife was in the car behind him, and one of them got aggressive, and that's it.
Oh no!
And he passed away from his wounds. So I can't remember the name of it.
That's really
but
sad.
It's extremely sad. And he had rescued the lionesses from one of these farms that you're talking about, where these enclosed, and they go and they hunt them, which is not. I don't think that's the way hunting should be. So I'm not a big hunter. I don't have a very strong perspective on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust a lioness.
That's a whole different thing. Yeah,
that's what I learned from it.
Ladies.
Because of a claws or because it's a female?
It's a rescue.
It's a rescue. Good answer. He just saved himself from sleeping on the couch today. That's it. But yeah, it was really sad. So I was just reading that. I was reading that. But I think, look, before we wind it down, I want to ask you one more thing, because it's like all the stuff that's happening. I heard again there's like this shooting of a kid with Down syndrome. And that's created a whole mess up now in South Africa. Like this shit is just it's getting like I'm getting tired of it. Like it's really So
you know what? As a South African that's born and bred here, and especially in Cape Town, where it's a lot. It's so beautiful, but in certain areas, it's not the whole of Cape Town that there's violence, or the whole of South Africa. It's like any place in the world. There's certain areas that you just won't go.
Yeah, the townships.
And
what would be the townships, right?
And unfortunately, there are families that have been in those areas, and who were moved to those areas because of what we had in the past, which was apartheid. So they never moved there by choice. They lost their land, or they lost their houses wherever they were, in affluent neighborhoods, and they were placed into those neighborhoods. So it is an economic problem for them to kind of dig themselves out of. And some people are working really hard to get themselves out of those situations for over 50 years, So there's a lot of misery in those areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're a young man or a young lady in those areas, if you don't see the future, or there is no outreach in those areas for you to see a future out, then violence is your best option, because then you join a gang, and then you've got to go around shooting or
robbing,
or killing someone for something, or just to show that you can do it. I know in that particular case, there was it wasn't targeted on the poor kid.
Correct.
It was a circumstance that happened.
Correct.
But still, it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable.
Yeah.
There is so much, I've gone around. I mean, I've traveled a lot because of work and sport. And when you go to other countries and you realize that we're not unique in this, it happens everywhere in the world, but that if I was a kid that came from those neighborhoods and I saw that it happened everywhere else in the world, I'd come back home and be really positive about where I come from and try and make it better. But if you don't see that perspective of outside, then you just think this is it. This is the world. So it's the misery we're in. Let's just stay there.
Yeah, you don't have a reference point.
But
exactly. Thankfully for that.
Yeah, at its core, what you're saying really is, look, I have a confidence in people. And that in general, you're born good, right? It's just circumstance and challenges that you face that may, dictate how you take those decisions, like you said. But I think it's a tough one, because it's a responsibility of themselves to push themselves to try to improve, but it's also a responsibility of whatever you want to call it, the system, to give them the best opportunity possible. right? And I
I think it's exactly that. It's exactly as you said it there. If you're giving anyone an opportunity for them to do better, they would take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There may be some outliers. Like, I think that's natural. You're always going to have some random folks that are going to be whatever, wanting to be violent or wanting to be kind of dodgy, right? But then there's always, the majority will always be people that's trying to get better.
I heard once, long time ago, and I don't know if this still holds weight, is that, the old saying, money is the root of all evil. This guy once told me, he's like, because we were just chatting, and he's like, not having money is the root of all evil in most cases. Yeah. Not just money itself, but the idea of not having opportunity, not having privileges, usually more than having the money. Because I think, like you're saying, I have faith in people in general. There's a lot of philanthropists out there. There's a lot of people with money or with power and position of power, I think overall are trying to do good. I think we only hear for the most part
that's
of the
natural. That's just media, right?
Yeah, and we thrive. We don't thrive, but you're always curious to hear about news. Like, put on the news. I'm sick of listening to the news. 90%, negative, repetitive information.
Absolutely.
And it's just it's not what's out there. There's a lot of people doing good, such as yourself, for example. You don't hear these stories at all.
No,
not as much, at least.
I think you're right. You see, I've got this thing in the house that I don't switch on the news. I choose to go and find the news I want to read.
Yeah.
So I'll go on to CNN or BBC or wherever, Al Jazeera, and go and read what's happening there. But then you always have to take them. Maybe because I'm on the media side and I've done some filming stuff for these news agents in my career, with that that there's so much bias going on out there.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
There's two sides to a story. And
we're a lot more aware of it nowadays.
Yeah, the access of information. But this is it. Like, we were talking about it earlier.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword because it becomes like an overflow of information, and then naturally you're always going to shift towards your biases, right? And then you're going to start getting the news you want to hear and the perspective that you want to. And that's what's kind of scary. And this is where I think there is a responsibility always on media to give you. They should
both sides of the story.
Yeah, they shouldn't be biased, right? You shouldn't have. Like, that's what scares me about, say, American news, right? Is that they have Democratic views, CNN, whatever, and then you go Fox News, you want
extreme
Republican, hardline, you know what I mean? So you're both have their skew, and you have to imagine that the reality is somewhere in the middle in a lot of cases. So I think, look, there's a responsibility on the person that's absorbing it to filter through, but it gets difficult in the environment that's
when you're bombarded with all
this
of
is
that.
It's so like, but it's an interesting thing. So Peter, man, honestly, it was really cool sit and chat with you. This time just flew by. Do you come to Dubai? We'd love to see you out here, man, if you're ever here.
So that's my next on my bucket list. I've chatted to a friend of mine, a mutual friend.
Our mutual friend, yeah.
He's got a lot of experience.
Shout out to Simon.
Going to Dubai.
Shout out to Simon. Miss you, bro.
No, he's good. He's so I've also tried to go and try and find the projects that are happening in Dubai that I can go and do. But they just
timing is off.
Obviously, people who are much nicer looking than me. So I've got to just buy a ticket and come out.
Just do it. Just do it.
Through the airport about 4 times already.
Yeah, for sure.
I just have never stepped out of it. So I've got to do that now.
Do it in the winter time. You'll love it. It's a beautiful place, man. Just amazing things you can do.
I'll come look you up.
For sure, you're gonna have to come look.
You got a couch? You got a couch? I'll bring my own pillow.
I'll do you one better. I have an extra room, and you're more than welcome, my friend. So there you go. I got you sorted out. Be careful what you wish for. What, man? You know what? I like that. That's where I enjoy that you know, the pizzazz of life always keeps it interesting. But thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. We're going to put out all of Peter's details for his studio, for his dojo, whatever information he has. Check him out, man. Really cool guy. Extremely creative. Hopefully, Laith, we'll have an opportunity to work with Peter. If you do come out to Dubai, we need to talk, right? It'd be cool for us to.
Thank you so much.
Love to get some ideas out of you.
Yeah, definitely.
But thanks so much. For everyone else, subscribe, check out the channel, spread the word, like the video, get that algorithm working, and we'll check you. We'll check you later.
Thank you so much.
Much love.